So I'm just gonna say it, but Too Many Games should not be a place where you have eBay prices. You should not go into a video game convention and spend way too much money. You should not have to worry about getting ripped off, having all of this stuff just like thrown in your face and you being forced to pay these insane amounts of money. Those days should be long gone. Hey guys, it's Gamer Ahmer here. So today I wanted to recap my experience at Too Many Games, one of the largest video game conventions that I have ever seen before. This is located in Pennsylvania, so if you're ever in that area and you want to check out one of the largest video game conventions, there are a few things that you need to know. So let's go ahead and jump into them. So this is one of the all-time largest video game conventions, and especially since we have all of these major events being canceled, there's so many different directs and things like that where Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation are no longer visiting in person. So what do you have to do? You have to go out to different video game conventions to try and get your fix on video game news, video game items, and just so much cool stuff. So this convention is massive. There is no doubt about it, and the prices this year have increased since previous years. But what do you do when there is a price increase? You have to make sure that you get the most for your money. So whenever you go to these events, you need to take advantage of everything that these things offer. You have to check into if you're going for just one day, a few days, and see if it's worth it upgrading your ticket, a little bit more money, or if you are making it one day, make sure you pick a day that's going to matter, where you can make some deals with vendors, where you can, take advantage of the most amount of things that are going on at these conventions. Typically, they have like a dealer room where they have tons of video game stores. They have like mom and pop stores, just different people setting up. So they have like a whole artist area where you have these different vendors mixed in who actually make these really cool video game art crafts. So you can get some cool like little jewelry, you can get all kinds of different displays, signs that you can hang up on your walls, different art prints, and different things like that. So you just kind of want to check around and see what is different at this convention compared to other ones. Then they have an entire celebrity area where they have famous YouTubers, famous celebrity, voice actors. They have tons of different people who really make this whole video game community worthwhile. They also have a massive wrestling area. So that was really cool to see on Saturday when I went, where they have this big ring. They have like this ultimate Super Smash Brothers like wrestling style, where you have all these different people dressed up in cosplay, and they're just like all out battle royale, just beating each other up. It's pretty wild to watch, and they even had a real actual wrestler there. So knowing all of this when you go to these video game conventions, it really helps when you're kind of diving into these areas and seeing what you need to do. So once we paid for our tickets, we kind of got funneled into one particular area, which was where some of the panels are. So they do have tons of different events, different people talking about different things in the gaming community all throughout every hour or so. And then they have a giant like arcade area. Now they definitely expanded upon this from previous years. So not only did they have like one whole section of free play arcades, they had a whole nother room that just kind of like went back where they had other panels and things like that. They also had like people playing video games up on stage. There were some tournaments, there were some free play. So you just have to take advantage of that. And you may see some cool rare video game arcades. Like I really had a blast playing that Nintendo Red Tent. It's just something, a part of history that if you know about, you know, and you just really don't understand how expensive some of these items are, the upkeep on these different arcades, and just getting a chance to experience a part of this whole history. And they had like tons of rhythm games, beat 'em up games, just really a great time, especially if you could, knock out some gameplay while you're there at the convention, especially if you don't own the physical arcades at your house. So then you kind of go through that other room, and there was a giant Atari like Pong arcade machine. That beautiful yellow color, just that classic where everything kind of stemmed from. and that thing is pretty difficult to play. So as we were kind of going back and forth, it was just kind of comical because you couldn't really tell if skill was involved or it was just us, completely being terrible at this game as to why we were accumulating points. But you just have to appreciate those historical items, and I love how they have other video game conventions advertising at these, because it's not all about just one convention. It's about an entire community trying to uplift, trying to grow from these different things, see what works at one, what doesn't work at another, and just hopefully helping one another kind of grow into this whole entire video gaming community, this whole retro gaming community, keeping it alive. And then jumping right into the main room, right away, I saw Toxic Crusaders. So if you guys know anything about this, this is a really cool promotional slime that they were handing out to go ahead and advertise this new beat 'em up style game, and it looks fantastic. This is a game that I'm super thrilled to play because if you love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, you love those old school style beat 'em up style games, and you love the toy line and everything else, it's just so cool seeing this stuff come back alive, getting a new revamp, a new spin on things, and having these classic games come out on the newer systems. You could actually try out the game while you were there. You could sign up, get these cool slimes, and I really thought that these were not going to be, produced anymore. Maybe they had extra stock from the last huge event that they were actually at. So I'm super thankful to get one of these added into the collection, as I have some Toxic Crusader toys upstairs. Love the 80s and 90s stuff. Just really a classic spin on things. And then some more cool stuff. So, of course, when I go to these conventions, I want to remember the experiences. I had to pick up a cool promotional t-shirt. They're kind of going on a spin of Genesis does what Nintendo don't. So they have this TooManyGames does what other cons don't. So I thought that this was a really cool spin on things. And then they had some of their older t-shirts there, of course, in limited stocks. So I just love these older displays, these older designs from some of the previous years. And especially if you're a Super Nintendo fan and you just love Earthbound, I had to pick up that as I am going for a full Super Nintendo set. And then even this cool little pin just to go ahead and advertise. They threw in some stickers, and then of course you have your TooManyGames little badge right here. So I had to add this to the collection of these conventions that I'm going to, and it's just really cool to see all of the different merch. Kind of help support these conventions and just keep them going. Now, as you're funneling into these conventions, something very important that needs to be said. This is something that you just can't tread lightly on. Someone needs to say it. So some of the prices were just insane. I know it's 2023, and I know that some of the prices have shot through the roof, but that is no excuse for having massively expensive items at a video game convention where you are competing with other vendors there. I get that some of the tables have went up in price, but that does not give the excuse that video games should be priced higher than eBay. Now, I don't know what everyone thinks out there, but there is no need to go and spend all of this money going into a video game convention and paying way more than eBay prices. That should be a thing of the past, and I just don't understand how we could still do that in 2023. It really just does not make sense. Some tables actually had a game for $15, and then it's somewhere else they had it for $30, $40, $50, $60. It's just insane. You should not be getting ripped off when you go to these video game conventions. You really should not be. So, as I kind of went around, I was able to do a little bit of research, and I picked out different tables and different video game stores that I know in the area, like Cartridges Galore. They're one of my favorites to scope out. I have tons that are local in Maryland. They have tons in other states as well, but they actually try and change their prices to compete with under eBay amounts, and they just have it for great deals. You can make tons of amazing deals with these other, tables as well, especially if you're paying cash. And especially if you can make some bundle deals, because you never want to miss out on trying to make a deal when it comes to these video game items. So that is exactly what I did. I went around and I scored tons of Super Nintendo games that I can't wait to show off in another video where I try and go for the full Super Nintendo set. So yes, I did get too many Super Nintendo games at TooManyGames. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And I just met so many great people. I went there with Game Junction. I was a part of that We were able to film, get tons of stuff done, you know, just have a blast game hunting, seeing so many amazing, like, holy grail items there, seeing these Nintendo, you know, awards, these cool trophies, seeing a massive Sega, like Sonic the Hedgehog, but seeing Tails, the gigantic statue, was insane. Seeing all these cool, like, Nintendo items. It was just, like, mind-boggling the amount of stuff that you see at these conventions. That is something that you also want to kind of look out for when you go to these places. You don't want to just buy all of these things that are around your area. You want to go for things that you just don't see every day. You want to try and find items that maybe you can make a better deal on, maybe you don't see, maybe it's not on eBay, and next thing you know, you're making a deal of a lifetime and walking away with it at one of these events. So that's just a little bit of, you know, some tips and tricks, especially when you go to these game conventions. Try and make those deals. Don't rush into things. Find things that you don't see in your area. Don't overspend. Make the most for your money, especially if there's an insanely high ticket price to get into these conventions. Take advantage of the free play. Take advantage of meeting the local celebrities and voice actors, things like that. Watch all of the events like wrestling, the different panels, and just make the most of your time. Your time is worth everything, and you want to make sure that you have such a great experience. I know I did, and don't forget, I will actually have tons more coming. I scored some amazing stuff, and I'm not talking about these Pringle cans here. I'm talking about what's inside, some really cool, you know, awesome items that I just can't wait to share with you guys, as it's a part of another one of my series. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and let me know if you guys went to TooManyGames and what you guys thought about the entire experience. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos, and stay tuned for more.